Good morning, grade 6s, and welcome back to WorksheetCloud, grade 6 Natural Sciences. If you have a question during the lesson, please send an email with your question to grade6@worksheetcloud.com. My name is Mrs. Hall, for those of you who don't know me, and this is the final in our electricity series. So if you haven't watched any of my previous electricity lessons, please go back and watch those before you watch this one on electrical safety. Otherwise, you're not going to understand what's going on. So today's lesson is on electrical safety. And yes, that is a child putting their finger in a wall socket plug. Hopefully, none of you have ever done that. Right. Why can electricity be dangerous? Let's take a look. Okay. I hope you're enjoying that little picture. So electricity, as you know, is energy that can flow from place to place. And this is called a current. You know this. This flow of energy powers all kinds of things, such as computers, lights, and televisions. But fires can be caused if electrical equipment is damaged or incorrectly used. So let's start with some safety electricity measures at home. There are lots of ways to stay safe around electricity when you are at home. First of all, as in our first picture, never put your fingers in a plug socket, grade 6s. Even if the switch is in the off position, there will still be an electric current in the sockets. If you need to unplug equipment, turn off the switch on the socket and then carefully take the plug out. Don't ever try to yank the plug out of a wall socket. Don't overload sockets. Using lots of extension cords could cause damage and could damage the electrical system and cause a fire. Like if you look at this office over here, it looks like a home office. There's just cords everywhere, all going into the same wall socket. And look at the kitchen. There's just cords everywhere. Definite no-no. And then if you notice an electrical wire is damaged, you must tell a grown-up straight away. So if you see any frayed wires, or maybe you caught your puppy chewing on the wire, or behind your fridge there were mice or rats and they chew on those wires, believe it or not, you better tell an adult straight away. So make sure electrical wires are tucked out of the way because they can be a trip hazard. Yes, I tripped over one this morning. If a pet chewed on wires, it could get an electric shock. If wires dangle from kitchen surfaces, young children could pull them, causing appliances to fall and cause an injury. If a piece of bread gets stuck in the toaster, do not use a knife to try and get the bread out. A knife is metal, so it will conduct electricity, and it won't be pretty, as you will see later. Don't touch a light switch or a plug socket with wet hands. Water conducts electricity, so it could cause an electrical shock, and we go into that in quite a bit of detail soon. And that is why most bathroom lights have pull cords instead of switches, for those of you that didn't know, especially in the older homes. Hair straighteners, hair dryers, and other electrical devices should not be used in the bathroom. Some bathrooms have special plugs so that electric shavers can be used, but these are not for normal appliances. So no, girls, you cannot be straightening your hair in the bathroom. When you leave the house, electrical equipment such as tumble dryers shouldn't be left on. Sometimes these appliances can overheat and cause a fire, and you all know how hot tumble dryers get, especially in winter when it's going for most of the day. If you are not sure about anything, it is always important to always ask an adult for help. So this one is going to surprise a lot of you. Chargers for phones and tablets are something that must be used with care. Here are some ways to keep safe when you are charging your devices. Make sure you use a genuine brand of charger from a shop. A lot of us like to buy those rip-offs. Some cheaper chargers may not have undergone the appropriate safety checks, and there have been cases where these fake chargers, yes, we've all bought them, have overheated and caused house fires. Okay, be very aware of that. Never charge your device under your pillow while you sleep. And you might be sitting here thinking, oh, who does that? Yeah, teenagers do that, okay? If the charger overheats, it will catch fire. And if you're a very deep sleeper, okay. Every year, grade 6s, South Africans die from trying to tap into electricity sources or trying to remove electricity cables. These activities are extremely dangerous and illegal. Only use electricity supplied by a legal source, like Eskom. Okay, and that is about illegal connections. And we will go into that in a little bit more detail when we look at mains electricity. So, electrical safety at school. The same safety rules for home can also be applied at school. Schools do lots of things to make sure children are safe around electricity. All the electrical equipment at the school is safety tested by an electrician every year. And this even includes chargers for your laptops as well as your tablets that you have access to in your school labs or computer labs. At schools, electrical equipment is installed by a qualified electrician. If items need to be repaired, this is also done by an electrician. Let's now look at electricity safety while you are out and about. So these pylons over here support thick cables which carry electrical current around an area. You've all seen them. You should take great care when walking near these pylons, making sure you don't get too close, and you should never climb one. Kites shouldn't be flown near pylons or electricity cables. If a kite got caught in the wires, it could act as a conductor, and you would get an electrical shock. Okay, so no flying of kites near pylons, please. It is dangerous, grade 6s. Before you climb a tree, you should also look above to check that there are not any electrical cables running through it. If you are using electrical equipment outdoors, it is important that you use a suitable outdoor extension lead, not one for indoor use. Okay, you get different ones, indoor and outdoor. Outdoor leads are waterproof, which is important as electricity and water do not mix. Okay. Playing near electricity or electrical equipment is not good. Do not play near these substations, okay? Yes, you might think it's a lovely little place to go and hide out and play hide and go seek with your friends, but it is dangerous. And you always need to look for these electrical signs of danger. Okay, so it is danger in big, red, bold letters. Well, the letters are in white, the background's in red. Electrical hazard, it shows you the sign for an electrical shock like a bolt of lightning. And here you see electrical hazard, authorized personnel only. Okay, let's move this one out the way. And there you have that lightning bolt. That is one of the most common signs of electricity and the danger associated. Right, why is electricity dangerous? Yes, look at that picture. Okay, it even comes out of your ears. Let's take a closer look. So you've probably been shocked before, a little shock, by static electricity. For example, when you walk across a carpet and you touch a doorknob, okay, that hits you. But a real electric shock is a lot more painful than that and a lot more dangerous. And listen very carefully to what can happen to you. Firstly, your muscles tighten up, making it almost impossible to pull away from the circuit. It's like you're trapped there. Your lungs constrict, making it very hard to breathe. Heartbeat is interrupted and your blood vessels tighten. And burns occur where the electricity entered and where it leaves your body. And I'm not trying to scare you. I'm telling you the real truth here, grade sixes. It's very important that you are aware of the dangers associated with electricity. And now let's start talking about how humans are good conductors of electricity. Do you know, well, you should by now, that human bodies consist of 72% water, and that automatically makes us a very good conductor. Okay, the human body is a good conductor. That means that electricity flows easily through our bodies. And why? Because electricity moves quickly through water. Yes. And the human body, like I said earlier, is 70% water. Another fact you need to remember is that electricity always tries to find the easiest path to the ground. And you're going to understand why in the next slide. Okay, so let's move me out the way again. This is a person being very silly with getting a very big shock. Okay. This picture shows what could happen if someone accidentally knocks a metal ladder against an unprotected power line. The ladder comes into contact with the energized power line. The electricity travels through the metal ladder to the man's hands, and the electricity quickly moves through the ladder and the man's body, trying to find the easiest path to the ground. So from the overhead cable, which is carrying electricity, through the metal ladder, which is a conductor, through his body, which is 70% water, trying to get to the ground. The power lines around your home have a protective covering, but it's only to protect the power line from weather. It's not there to protect you from the electricity. If an electrical accident happens, okay, so if you're ever in a situation, and I really hope you're not, okay, but if you ever are, this is what you need to remember. If you see someone getting shocked, would you know what to do? It's important to know the rules of electrical safety so you don't get hurt yourself. Do not touch the victim, okay? You will get shocked, or not you will, you might get shocked too. Find a grown-up right away. Ask the grown-up to turn off the power at the service panel, so wherever the electric current is coming from. Call emergency services. Be sure to tell the person who answers that someone had an electrical accident, because then they know the right people to send. If the electrical accident happened near utility equipment like a power line or a substation, keep others away. Don't let the crowds come, okay? And ask the grown-up to call an electric company or an emergency services right away. Even if the person seems okay after getting a very mild shock, it's important to always go to the hospital to see a doctor. Don't think you're okay, and this is why. Okay, electricity burns from the inside out. So some injuries might not be easy to see. The heart and other internal organs can be affected several hours after the accident. Okay, so if you are shocked, please go to the emergency room. Electrical safety. Okay, so the wires which carry electricity consist of two parts. Okay, you know this, the metal wires, and then you have the coating around the metal wire, which is the insulators. Okay, the metal wires are the conductors, and they allow electricity to pass through them very easily. The plastic coating acts as an insulator, which prevents people from being electrocuted, and it's there for a reason. Okay, So insulators are materials which do not allow electricity to pass through them easily. Let's go back. The plug. Okay, so you all know what a plug looks like, and you know that a plug allows you to plug appliances into the main supply, and the plug draws the electricity from the main supply. Okay, most electric cables normally contain 3 wires. Okay, there you can see them. We have the live wire, right? We have the neutral wire. Okay, and we have the earth wire. That's that green and yellow one. The live one over here is your brown one, and your neutral one is your blue wire. Okay, each of these wires have different colors of insulation, and let's take a look why. Okay, you have to remember the names and colors of each of these 3 wires. You also at grade 6 level should be able to remember the position of each of these three wires in a standard plug. So in my grade 6 class, I make them wire a plug. Okay, so like I said earlier, let's move me out the way again. Okay, we have our insulation color. For live, it's brown, and a good way to remember it is BR, bottom right. Our neutral is blue, bottom left, BL, and our earth, very easy to remember, is green and yellow. Think of the colors of the earth, and it's in the center. So it is very important that all the plugs are wired correctly. If they are not, you know a number of things can go wrong. Okay, they have 3 safety devices in a plug. You have the fuse, the earth wire, as well as the switch. Okay, those are the safety devices that are there to protect you. These devices are designed to stop you from being electrocuted and to prevent the appliance from becoming damaged. Okay. The fuse is a thin piece of wire which will melt when too much current passes through it. Okay, there you can see it. And as I told you in my previous lesson, current is a flow of electricity and is measured in amps. Okay, let's take a look at an example. A 3 amp fuse will melt when the current is greater than 3 amps, and when a fuse has blown, the wire inside it has melted. So it's extra protection for you. When the wire melts, all current is stopped from reaching the appliance and it switches it off. The fuse stops a large current from flowing through the appliance, which could cause the wires to overheat, melt, catch fire. The switch we learnt about in our previous lessons. The fuse and the switch control the amount of electricity that enters an appliance. The fuse and the switch are connected to the live wire. Can you remember what color the live wire is? I hope so. Electricity comes through in the live wire. That's your brown wire. Well done. Okay, if the fuse is blown or the switch is off, then the electricity cannot reach the appliance, which is a good thing. Let's move me back. So let's take a look at the earth wire. As I said, it has 3 pins. The live and the neutral pins allow the electricity to pass through the appliance and they cause it to work. So the live and the neutral, okay? The earth wire does nothing unless something goes wrong, okay? There it is. What can go wrong, you might ask yourself? Well, the most dangerous thing that can happen is that the live wire can become loose inside an appliance and touches the casing. This makes the casing live. And what happens when you touch live casing? If you touch the live casing, you could be electrocuted. And it has happened to me when I've touched that plug. As you are providing a path for the electricity to flow. And now, while watching this, you're probably thinking, I've done that. I've touched that plug and I've been electrocuted. So how do we prevent this happening? To prevent it, the earth wire is connected to the casing of the appliance. Over here, you can see it, the connection to the casing of the actual appliance. Here's our stove, our electric cooker. And if the live wire touches the casing, the earth wire provides a path for the electricity to flow. And this blows the fuse and switches the appliance off, leaving you safe and sound. Okay, a few interesting questions that always come up in my classroom is how do utility workers on these electrical poles, how do they repair power lines without getting hurt? Utility workers or line mechanics wear special gear, as you can see here, and special equipment to stay safe around energized power lines. Very interesting one. How come birds don't get electrocuted when they sit on power lines? They don't, because when they land on the power line, they are only touching one of the wires. If they were to touch two or more of the wires at the same time, that's when they get electrocuted. And funny enough, in California, wildlife experts are teaching the endangered California condor to stay away from the power lines to save them. The birds are so large that they can touch two power lines at the same time because their wings stretch out to more than 9 feet across. Wow, hey? Isn't that incredible? And then this question, why shouldn't we play near substations? We love it, Mrs. Hall. We love to jump on top and jump off, and we can hide away from our friends. If there's a substation in your neighborhood, it's important to steer clear. There's a lot of high voltage electricity inside, and you don't even have to touch anything inside to get hurt. I've been in my home where I've heard one explode, and it's a huge bang, and if you are close to it, it won't be pretty. Okay, grade 6s, I really hope you enjoyed this lesson and that you're going to leave this lesson going, oh, wow, I'm going to go wire that 3-pin plug now, and I'm going to open one up and check it out. Be careful, okay? Make sure you've got an adult with you first, and make sure if you're going to play around with the 3-pin plug that it's not plugged into the wall while you're doing it. Just a little bit of friendly advice to keep you safe. Grade 6s, have a great afternoon, and thanks for watching, and I will see you again next time. Take care of yourselves, grade 6s.